Okay, I'm back. Because technically this should be Scooby's spiritual successor and the Mystery Machine, but I got slapped upside the head with inspiration to redesign Loona and Millie. I've kind of been putting off redesigning the Helluva Boss main cast, mainly due to lack of info or characters, specifically Millie and Loona, and yeah, I'm aware what Viv said about how Millie and Loona will have their spotlight moments, but again, we're in season 2. Now normally, a bigger studio would have each season roughly in the double digits for episodes, but Helluva Boss didn't do that. Like, not sure why. I mean, being an indie studio has nothing to do with the episode amount, but yeah, season 1 has 7 episodes with 1 pilot and 1 unreleased episode, but from what's been said, it wasn't going to influence season 2, which makes this episode even more confusing. And again, yeah, I saw what the team said, but they really shouldn't have to tell us that. I mean, they easily could have included a scene where Stolas and Blitzo talk about not letting what happened at Ozzy's get to them while looking for Octavia. Off topic, sorry. Anyway, what I mean by the season being short and being told we'll get more from these characters later is that season 1 is usually your introduction of your main cast, and all of season 1 was mainly Stolas and Blitzo, like nothing was even, and most of the first season episodes were the typical villain of the week, so it didn't leave a ton of room to learn something about the characters that we already didn't know about, and Millie and Loona were sidelined very quickly. Like episode 2, we got to learn more about Octavia than we did Loona, who is the main character's daughter. Like, what? The love interest's daughter gets the spotlight before Loona? Why? And yeah, I know Blitzo and Stolas are technically both equally the main character, but we were led to believe that the show would mostly be about IMP, but clearly it's not. Also, Millie, I get she and Moxie are a package deal, and that's fine. I like their dynamic, though sometimes it can be super cringe, but most couples are, so But I'd seriously love to know more about her outside of Moxie. Like, after season 2 episode 3, we know more about Moxie than ever, yet we still know very little about Millie other than she's always been a killing machine and she dated Chaz, which, side note, we never got to see how that went down. Though there is talk of a flashback, but we'll see. I just find it funny that 2 episodes that could have included Millie more didn't, especially the one where they go to her childhood home, and Loona. Like, all we got was a flashback from Blitzo's point of view of her in the shelter, since most of season 1 she was barely included. Even the episode she was somewhat the highlight of had her talk to Tex and fight with Blitzo, which she does a lot, though we did learn she doesn't have friends, so I will take the small win. Either way, I'm still gonna wait and see how far the show goes and what the overall end game is, since we have so many possible enemies coming, along with the assassination of Stolas. It's a lot. Anyway, the designs for both Millie and Loona aren't bad. I personally like Loona's more, though mainly due to Millie always having this look, and personally to me, looks like a less destroyed version of Pilot Cherry's look. Either way, Millie's an okay design. I like the idea of her looking so simple, yet is insane when it comes to fighting and killing. But just like 3 things bug me. 1, her feet design. Most of the time the red of her thighs peeking out of her pants don't line up with her ankles. That's mostly an animation error, but I'm anal and it bugs me. Her horns, while not necessarily an animation error, the way they have the base of her horn going further down her head makes some scenes look weird. Like, it's hard to explain. It's probably just me and my weird thing with anatomy, along with her eyelids phasing into it. It just looks really weird, and I notice it all the time. And lastly, the hair. Don't get me wrong, it's cute, but so far every main girl seems to have this choppy emo cut, Loona included. And though a lot of background characters have actual hairstyles, it's weird to see so many main/front-running characters share the same style. Either way, Millie's design is just a tad too simple, but overall pretty decent. My main wish is she had another color added to her, but that's about it. Now, Loona, on the other hand, is also not a bad design, but her fur pattern is insane. Like, her back fur is a dark gray, perfectly fine, but then her tail is her ears colors. Why? I get a lot of dogs have weird fur patterns, but judging by her design, I'm pretty sure she's a Siberian Husky, and that breed's fur pattern is pretty simple, dark on top, light on bottom, and the tips of the ears darker, yet Loona's hair is a completely different color to her body. Like, her top hair should be that darker gray color, and underneath her white gray mane fur along with her tail. Also, side note, why does Loona's ripped ears always switch or disappear or end up on the other ear as well? It's been happening less, but it's still noticed. Either way, that's my biggest issue with Loona. Her fur pattern drives me crazy. As for her outfit, again, very simple, but gets the job done by telling us she's goth. Or I guess casual goth? Or maybe not even goth, since most of Hell dresses this way, so maybe it's just the basic look. And Luna's like those girls in high school who only drink Starbucks with their big sweaters and exercise shorts. You guys know what I'm talking about. We've all met one. But anyway, let's move on to the redesigns. This is getting long. Okay, for Millie's redesign, I kind of went the more obvious route as she's the muscle of the group and combat based. So I added a few scars just to show Millie's not 100% invincible. I also reworked some physical stuff, mostly to make her feel less plain. Because even though Millie's from Wrath, she looks more like a human. I mean, even her family also looks like a combination between a human and an imp. But with Stryker, it's weird how much his features embody the area he's in. So I curved Millie's horns a bit and made her fingertips black, as I kinda headcanon the black parts of imps are more tough or rougher spots, kind of like the opposite of the white marks being scars or birthmarks, so Millie's claws are extra tough. I also added black rings to Millie's tail, similar to Stryker as a nod to mud snakes. They're not poisonous or anything, but they have a very sharp tail spine, and I figured with how western the Wrath Ring is, a lot of the imps would have more reptile styles to them, and cause all imps have pointed tails. Anyway, for Millie's outfit, I tried to keep it somewhat simple and close to her style. I gave her a sleeveless hoodie with a boob window, and later at the end of the video, you'll see I changed it to a heart since I realized later the neck part of her undershirt wouldn't make much sense. I mean, it could have been just a long choker, but I decided to connect the upper arm bands and make them sleeves, which I think works just as well. But yeah, the heart tattoo got covered up. So to compensate for that, heart-shaped boob window. And since Millie's fingertips are now black, I couldn't keep her OG gloves, so I downgraded them to bracers, which technically are mostly for protecting an archer's forearm, but we all know it's because they look cool. As for Millie's pants, I kept them pretty much the same, but tighter at the ends with little belts. I also made her legs similar to Moxie's, mostly because her human legs bother me. And don't worry, we'll talk about Blitzo's as well. I did keep her thigh shoes, is what I'm gonna call them, the same because they make sense. I mean, imps have goat feet. Like, how are you gonna put shoes on a goat's foot? For added accessories, I gave her a back belt for her knife, because this is just a me thing, and I get it's cartoon logic to pull stuff from thin air, but every time Millie pulls out her knife, unsheathed, I'm just like, how have you had that on you this whole time and not stabbed yourself? And yeah, it's not a switchblade, I checked. Where is she keeping it? And for the final accessory, an IMP belt buckle. It didn't hit me till I started drawing Millie and Loona that the IMP gang didn't really have a uniform or like a logo on them, which I don't get. Like, they work at a freelance killing company. Wouldn't you want your workers to advertise themselves besides the van they all seem to carpool in? So look out for that with Blitzo and Moxie. I almost forgot. I curled her hair a bit and put it in a ponytail. I still kind of want to give her a pixie cut, but this is still cute. As for color, I didn't want to go too far outside her darker style and just use the darker blues and grays, but I do think the gray that I chose for her top is a nice break from all the darkness, really zeroes in on her face more. Anyway, I'm pretty happy with this. I may play more with Millie once her Spotlight episode comes out, but for now, I'm happy. Let me know what you all think, but for now, let's move on to Loona. So for Loona's redesign, I restyled some stuff, but my main thing was getting her fur pattern to make sense, so I darkened her hair a bit and combined her hair to her ears since the way it's drawn looks super complicated and like way too much line work. Along with being a color it really didn't need to be based on her outer pattern, but I did darken the tips because again, I'm pretty sure the type of dog she's based around is this breed, which sometimes gets mistaken as a husky, but Siberian Huskies and Huskies that we have in our home are two very different breeds. You can mostly tell by the shape of their tail. Anyway, I didn't mess too much with the style or shape of her hair, but reworked the hairline and bang line. This has been an ongoing issue with the Has-Been and Helluva Boss universe, where the hairlines just live on a whole other planet, and at this point, I'm just gonna tell myself it's a style choice, because it's happened so much, I can't. I also took away the notches in her ears and we worked it to scars on her muzzle, something she got from her time at the shelter, and possibly a fun character moment of her being self-conscious, as it could be a reason she wasn't adopted, because I can imagine when adopting puppy hellhounds, the cute ones go first. But at some point I would like to know why Loona was the oldest within the shelter. Like why wasn't she adopted? She's relatively good looking, you know, there doesn't seem to be anything too wrong with her, or there doesn't seem to be anything off about her physically. Obviously, attitude-wise, she is a little rude, but I still don't understand how she wasn't adopted when she was so young. So hopefully we get to learn something about that. I would really like to know. Anyway, I made her earrings bigger. That way it's easier to keep track of them as they kind of disappear every so often. And I would have done it for her eyebrow too, but it looked really weird. And yes, Loona does have an eyebrow piercing. It tends to disappear sometimes, but if you look hard enough, you'll see it. Okay, for her fur pattern, I pretty much made it go all the way down her arms to her hands, because honestly, this weird shoulder pad thing was driving me crazy. Maybe if it had more texture to it, it wouldn't feel so off, but But I did have the pattern go down to her hips, since she does seem to have the pattern on her back as well in the OG version, so it would make a little bit more sense for the fur pattern to go all the way down to her hip area, because that's usually how Siberian Huskies fur patterns are. I also took away her gloves, mainly due to too many characters having fingerless gloves, and because I had the pattern go all the way down to her hands and I didn't want to cover it up. So for her collar, I added the IMP logo for, you guessed it, advertisement, to compensate with Loona's top star style. I did add extra chest belts to her collar, again to compensate for taking away her star. As for Loona's overall outfit, I mostly combined her shelter outfit and her main outfit together. Don't get me wrong, I like her outfit. I'm just confused on how it works, because sometimes the top sleeves make it seem like it's all one piece of fabric, and then other times it's a true off-the-shoulder shirt. So I just made a crop top sweater with simple stripes and extra rips. And yeah, the shorts I made are probably too detailed, but I've always had beef with Loona's shorts. Not sure why, but I seriously don't like them. So I put her in high-waisted jean shorts with a tight pull belt, kind of like the belts based around airplane seat belts. And side note, I'll probably take the fishnets away, but I think the tummy part looks really cool, so we'll see. And then Loona's shoe things. We seriously gotta come up with a name for these things. But I did take inspiration from Loona's human shoes and figured, why not? Plus, in her human form now, she'd be wearing these bad boys. Man, these were fun. Oh, later on, you will see I made a different color version of Loona with darker hair with a lighter underside. I really can't decide which one I like best, so let me know what you guys think, because the darker one looks better to me and fits with her tail better, but, you know. Either way, I had a lot of fun with this. Loona was actually super hard because I didn't want to go too crazy with the goth styles, because she's very relaxed about her style. Even her party outfit was just a simple red dress with her usual gloves and socks, so, you know, not too outlandish or adventurous. But Millie was a lot of fun to come up with ideas for. Imps have a lot more creative freedom than a lot of the other Hell natives. Anyway, I don't know what else to say in terms of Millie and Loona's personalities, since they're still very one note right now, but again, I'd love to see what Millie is like away from Moxie. Like, what's her story? Why is she so insanely good at fighting? Like, it can't just be the pain games, right? I'd also love to see Moxie and Millie fight, not physically, but Millie was kind of too chill about Moxie not telling her about his family, which if they were just dating, I'd get it, but they got married and she still didn't ask about his family, so it kind of makes me think they rushed into getting married really fast, though it could be the weird timeline, like seriously, the past timeline of this show is insane. I never know what's going on anymore. As for Loona, well, I'd just like her to be a little nicer to Blitzo. Like episode 8, though not out, shows Blitzo and Loona were probably gonna hang out, and that would have been cool to see. But from the conversation in the car, it looks like they were kind of having a nice time, I guess. It's hard to explain. And then in season 2, episode 2, Loona gave such a nice speech about dads, yet she kicks him in the crotch right after that speech. Like, why? I get Loona not being a touch person, especially from living so long in the shelter, but she's lived with Blitzo for 5 years now and even gave her the only room in the apartment, yet she still beats him up. Like, it's fine for her to ignore him sometimes or be embarrassed and shit talk, but beating him up sometimes just seems cruel at this point. Even in the Verosica episode, Loona says he'll get over it, he always does. Like, what the fuck? Because that just proves that she knows he gets over it. Like, no matter what she does, he'll get over it. And so she just keeps escalating and not voicing how she really feels, along with Blitzo just kind of like ignoring her violent tendencies, when it's like Blitzo and Loona need a serious talk about how they're gonna go about the rest of their lives, because this just seems so wrong right now. Anyway, again, I'd like to see Loona and Millie interact more. I think they could really benefit from each other. And yeah, just like to see more of these characters in general and actually have some character progression. But with the upcoming episodes, we'll just have to wait and see what actually happens with these characters. Anyway, let me know what you all think in the comments. Next video might be a Q&A since I've been sketching screen edit and I'd really like to finish them, so leave a question for me and I might answer it. Anyway, remember to like, comment, share, and subscribe. Really helps out the channel and me. I hope you all have a super fantastic day and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye!